What's going on, everybody? Jocks and Jills, episode 3. Happy Tuesday, y'all. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you survived your Monday. We definitely did. Julia, Tessa with you.
Some of us struggled more than others, Julia. But hey, we're here. We're talking about it. We're having a good time.
Well, you had a better weekend than... that was kind of a tacky way for me to make this joke, but I'm already too deep into it. You had a better weekend than Mike Tyson. That was kind of the highlight of the weekend in the sporting world.
Then everybody, I don't know
Everyone
about you.
was sad after.
I
It just
was
felt
sad.
weird.
It wasn't nice seeing a young gentleman beat up an older gentleman like that, even though Iron Mike...
Calling Jake Paul a gentleman is such a stretch.
Sorry.
I wanted to punch that guy in the face.
You wanted to see him get punched. I know you did, Julia.
Yeah.
You made that very clear before. However, my thing is like... It was Mike Tyson. We all knew him as this like lethal weapon back in the day. And I don't think anybody was expecting to see any part of that. Right?
There was still a little hope, though.
Was there?
There was for me.
I was holding my breath the whole time for the poor guy, especially after the first interview.
Oh, sorry. Once it started, there was no hope. But
Yeah.
leading up to everything, I had that little bit of hope.
I don't know. The whole interview with him walking away full moon, I was just like, this isn't going to go well.
Yeah, I was
don't
going to
know.
say, we only got one thing out of the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight. It was the meme that I posted on the Jocks and Jills Instagram. And the funny thing about that meme is that I texted you when I posted it. And if you look on our page right now, it's Mike Tyson's butt, for context. It's Mike Tyson walking away from that interview.
Yeah.
He's wearing his cup. Yeah, he's wearing his cup. And he's just cheeks fully out. SpongeBob looking cheeks fully out. And I said Mike Tyson, Tessa, kind of on the same page when it comes to their undergarments.
Listen, I died laughing. I was watching that fight solo.
Oh, wait. But the funny thing about the meme was at first I added it without the peach on his butt. And then I looked at it and I was like,
That's
oh my God. Too much butt crack on our page. We can't have that much butt crack on our page.
You downplayed the butt crack with a peach butt crack?
Yes, we covered it up and now it's PG.
I dig. Hilarious. I don't know. I just felt bad for him. And look, I don't even know why that was so hyped. Like, what we got is what I think we should have all expected.
Yeah, you're right.
And either way, the Taylor and Serrano fight, the ladies that went at it, that was the fight that everyone needed and wanted to see. Like, I will watch that 20 times over. They were crazy.
Except for when her eyebrow got split. Then I was like watching out of my hand, out of my fingers. I was like, oh
and
my
she should have
God.
won. But like, I remember I kept saying, like, why are they still letting her fight? Why are they still letting her fight? It is so wild. Someone glue it back together quick. Like, make it feel better for me.
Make it look better.
Yeah. Oh, man. Either way, I mean, I would hire either one of those ladies as security
Oh, for
for
sure.
anything. Like, if Taylor Swift doesn't already have them hired, I'm sure they will be hired at some point.
Yeah. That was an epic battle.
They're weapons.
You went
That's
quite a few rounds in the ring this weekend with your offspring because you're still by yourself.
yeah.
Shout out to Ed.
Living his best life down in Costa Rica.
He's not really, like, he's stuck there, kind of.
Well, I don't know. You can say stuck, sure. So Ed's still down in Costa Rica because there was a storm. The airport he flew into was flooded. There was damage to the runway, all these things. But there's another airport you can fly out of, which one of his other buddies that he was on his trip with flew out of immediately. So I was like, okay, I'll give you the weekend.
He could have not told you that information, too. Could have kept that one to himself.
Yeah. And then it was like, oh, we're supposed to get out Sunday or Monday, and they both get canceled. And it's like, okay, now just please go fly out of the other airport. And obviously now things are like quadruple the price. But look, I was lucky. This weekend, my mom and my dad and my Uncle Tim, who's in town from LA, he plays keyboards with the Beach Boys, has since the 90s. The band was playing down in Niagara. So he had flown in early to Canada to visit family up north in Sudbury and in Timmins. And then he came here and spent a night or two with myself and my kids. And so it was nice that I actually had help, albeit like I knew I could have just like left my kids with my parents and my uncle to visit. But like, I don't get to see my parents and my uncle ever.
Yeah.
So it's like you're battling between, I have a ton of work to get done. I know I have a ton of things on my to-do list that I could totally hammer out right now. Like if they weren't there, the kids would have been at school. Plucked them out of school. They were home all day Friday, just ripping around.
Nice.
And then my dad and my uncle left Saturday because my dad had to drive him down to Niagara Falls so he could obviously do his 2 concerts, Saturday, Sunday. my mom stayed and went to a play with my Aunt Wendy and my Baba, my grandmother, for my Aunt Wendy's birthday. So my mom was here until Sunday, which is when you rolled into town. Now, what people need to understand, Ed was supposed to fly back Friday. This is a very long story. Ed was supposed to fly back Friday because Milton had their Santa Claus parade. And Ed always has the best float in the parade. It's always rocking.
It's the talk of the town.
His band programs playing like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in rock form. It's the coolest. This year's it was 80s theme, so it was like also extra fun. So Ed usually, gets the float already. And when I say float, it's an 18-wheeler deck thing.
It's a flatbed.
It's a flatbed. Yeah, that's what it is. And so the flatbed, it needs to have all these posts put in. They all need to be decorated.
You gotta be safe too.
It has to be safe for the kids. Everything needs to be done. Fake snow needs to be put on. All the green things, whatever you want to call that.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So here I am with my husband out of town. He's like, can you help put that together? So of course.
And by help.
Yeah.
It means, can you
Just
do it?
So of course I do it. I would do it anytime.
Of course.
However, I had to go do that while my kids were here late night with one of his employees. Prudence, his other employee, stepped up. CT stepped up. A bunch of them all just stepped out. It was like a team game. And then I was like, okay, originally I was supposed to walk and hand out candy canes and stuff. And then it's like, how can I do that? Ed's not here. What are our kids going to do? In comes Enzo to babysit my children and Julia. But it was mostly Enzo.
We had so much fun yesterday. I haven't been to a Santa Claus parade. It was so fun. The community vibe, seeing your kids.
Yeah.
Your kids driving their little car around.
Yeah. The coolest part was, my kids drive their little four-wheeler around.
It's awesome.
But, we've got like a Court Street crew is what we call it. It's all of our neighbors that all have kids around the same age. And they're all maniacs. They sit on the corner. They have some fun. But right by us is our dentist. And they pay for this company to come in and give away free coffee, tea, and hot chocolate and cookies.
It was incredible.
For free. So we literally post up right in front of it for obvious reasons with some Baileys in tow.
Yeah, I hammered a few oatmeal raisins.
Did you? I had one. It was tasty.
Oh, I love an oatmeal raisin.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
Anyway, so we survived. Ed's still down there doing his damn thing.
Enzo had some excellent kid therapy. Emma Malte, shout out to you. You will be happy to know that he's barking a little bit less. He's got this thing where like he gets petted once.
Yeah.
And then he starts barking because he wants another pet. And he doesn't realize that that's kind of intimidating. But he was kind of scared of kids before yesterday.
Yeah.
Then him
and Annie.
And Tessa's daughter Annie became literally best friends. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. I was just handing Annie treats to continue to feed him. And now he loves kids, but he also thinks they're treat dispensers. So.
And Annie just didn't want him to leave. She didn't want
to go to the bathroom without him.
Yeah. She wanted him to come in the bathroom while she
And he did. And he did.
Yeah, he did.
He chilled. He'll watch the door. He's a bro.
Yeah. That was the best part.
Yeah.
And then when the night ended, it was hilarious because Annie didn't want to get out of the truck. She had like kind of dozed off a little bit. And so we go to come inside and I'm like, come on, we have to go say bye to Enzo and Miss Julia and Mr. Liam. And she was like, no, I don't want them to leave. Julia. She calls you Julia.
I love it.
Very good. Julia needs to clean the kitchen. I was like, what? Actually, that would be kind of nice. Go tell her that.
I was thinking about jumping in. Honestly, it was a great weekend. Yeah. I'm fully in the holiday spirit now.
Yeah.
Feels like Christmas is coming. Feels like the PWHL is coming.
Yeah.
There was one bit of news. Well, not a bit of news. It's a big, large piece of news. It's not women's hockey, but it is Canadian women's sport in the most prestigious degree.
Legend.
She already retired from the national team last year, and I was really lucky to be at that last game she played at BC Place. But Christine Sinclair officially retires her last club game. Anything to say just kind of about the Canadian legend before we get to our headlines?
Yeah, like I don't know. She was so inspiring, period. It didn't matter if you were a fan of soccer or not. She just inspired you to be better at what you were doing. And like her passion, I'll never forget losing my mind watching them play against the Americans in the semifinals in London. And I was lucky enough to be able to go to London after and watch them play in the bronze medal game. But like losing my mind watching that game and watching her passion in the way she just played and threw the team on her back. And it was like, let's go. And it like made you want to do things better and be better and commit as much as Sink committed. And like, there's a lot of young ladies out there who play hockey who still love Sink because Sink is so awesome. And so super stoked that she's Canadian. Love that. Super stoked that she's coming back to the NSL. Love that. I don't know. I just feel like that girl can walk on water. She can get away with anything she wants as far as I'm concerned. And she's a true pro. We were so lucky to be able to watch her many, many years of soccer. And now we get to watch her in a different light. But on behalf of all of us here at Jocks and Jills Sink, thank you for being so awesome. And thank you to our viewer who pointed it out that, you know, we probably should touch on the fact that Sink did retire. Because after all, you know, she's pals with Pwhl. She's pals with all these ladies, all these, you know, pro athletes now, female pro athletes. They're all kind of developing this spider web of support and love, and you love to see it. So I'm sure she's gotten a ton of messages and a ton of notes, and there's been a million people congratulating her, but we just wanted to take the time to make sure that she knows she's loved here on the Jocks and Jills podcast as well.
Yeah, congratulations. What a career. Again, I just mentioned I was at that game last year in BC. It was like a year ago right now. I'll never forget it. And she is everything that they say that she is in terms of just being so humble. Yeah. So humble that...
Down to earth.
Yeah, it's really a pleasure to be around her.
And like so kind, yet so fierce out there.
Yep.
Know what I mean?
Yep. Makes the best athlete. So congratulations. Thank you for representing Canada so well all these years. And with that, Tessa, let's get to our headlines this week in the PWHL. Okay, headlines. And this one got announced last week, like right after we finished recording. But PWHL officially coming to EA NHL.
Dig it.
Pumped.
So cool.
And me and you are going to try to comment on this right now, even though we're both not gamer girls. So let's do it.
I was going to say, who's going to pretend like we're the gamers?
Should we call Marissa on the phone?
Marissa Roberto, we need your training. Here's the thing. I am a gamer. Like just back in the day before you were born.
I know. Gamer just has a different connotation now. I like to play. Different. I love Mario Kart. I love to. Cool. If you show me a game, like I'll learn how to play it. I just can't sell my soul to like Fortnite or something like that.
Well, have you played it? I've never tried it. I don't know.
I've watched enough hours logged.
Have you?
A Fortnite?
Yeah.
Yeah. But NHL, I think I could get into. And I've said it before, I need to learn how to play NHL.
Yeah. Like I grew up with obviously the NES.
Yeah.
Right? And my favorite game, and this, if anybody knows this game out there and you love it as much as I do, please let me know. It's called Burger Time.
Okay. You're looking at me for help. I'm not here for you.
Don't know it? I was just hoping you'd be like, me too. No.
You gave it an extra minute to hang to, just in case it was.
This game. It's like with there's all these different tiers and different levels, and you have to climb up the ladders, and you're running away from like a salt and a pepper and a hot dog wiener and all these random things. And you have to like run across the bun to make it fall down to the next level. And then you have to make the burgers at the bottom.
Got it.
That's my favorite game. So basic, in case you haven't caught on yet.
Yeah.
It's a very basic game. Now with like the 37 buttons on one side and the 6 joysticks on the other, I am like, I mean, I guess you can teach old dogs new tricks, but like, where's just the A, B, up, down, left, right, start, select? I'm down with that. You know what? Even the left, right, the little left, righty thingies, I can do that.
Oh yeah,
I was Super Nintendo and I was cool with that.
Yep.
Nowadays, I don't know. I'm gonna need some quiet time with Marissa Roberto where we can sit down and just break it all down.
Yeah. Erin Ambrose, I know, is a big gamer too. Ratty, yes, she admitted to being a big gamer. We'll have to talk to these people to get us in the loop with gaming. But December 5th, you will be able to play as your favorite PWHL player, your favorite PWHL jersey, all 6 teams in there, and the Walter Cup in there too.
Isn't that cool?
Very cool.
So wicked. It was like, I don't know.
Dude, I was pumped, like, just the fact that Cheryl is the voice of that game.
Yeah.
So big in itself. And now adding the whole PWHL into the fold, I think it's awesome.
Ray Ferraro was doing it before Cheryl. And I love Ray so much. I love Cammie and Ray. Ray's like one of the nicest dudes I've ever worked with. Just a super fun pal. And I remember when Cheryl stepped in and took the gig, the messages he was putting out to Cheryl on social, I was just like, that's why I friggin' love this guy, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coolest dude. We love you, Ray. Poundy, we obviously love you too. Cammie, you're a legend. You've been on here. We can't get enough of these ladies. They just kick ass and take names.
The best. So we're really excited for that. Look for it December 5th. Look for Tessa and I learning how to play video games.
Yes.
That's to come.
We should actually probably post something on social of the first time we play. You know what we should do, actually? Set up a game against some of the top gamers in the league.
I have to learn.
Is that allowed? Like, can you do that on the online?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
That was a bad question, I'm assuming.
We'll cut that out. No, we won't, Chris. The PWHL TAKEOVER is coming to a city near you.
Yeah.
The dates got released today. Here is our roster of cities: Seattle, Vancouver, Denver, Quebec City, Buffalo, Raleigh, Detroit, St. Louis. Where do we have circled that we want to go the most?
Seattle.
Absolutely.
Seattle, Vancouver, 100%.
Yeah.
Out west. Love Seattle. Great music city.
I'm going to Denver in a couple weeks, actually, for American Thanksgiving.
Denver, hands down, I will be there. I've got one of my best friends from Ohio State that lives there, Olivia Antognoli. She is one of my ride or die. She was like my party person in school, you know, and it's like, oh, I want to really go and do this. And it sounds like a little bit of a sketchy idea. And you probably should have that friend that'd be like, I'll come with you to make sure nothing bad happens to us.
Yeah.
She'll be like, yes, and let's do everything. You know, and you end up
Right.
on, like,
Yeah, I have
next thing
friends
you
like that,
you're
too.
on some tour bus,
Yeah.
some band, and it's like the best night ever.
That's not the friend that would bail you out. That's the friend that you wake up next to in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened? Who do we call? But we had a roommate that we would call anyways. Her name was Mallory.
You need that friend, too.
Yeah. But Olivia, we're coming for you in Denver, bud.
I think Raleigh's kind of an underrated women's sports city, too.
Maybe. Can't say I'm excited to go there.
No, I saw lots of people buzzing on the internet. I saw some takes that it was kind of a weird pick. Lots of people disappointed to see Washington left off this list.
I know Washington was really pushing, especially in the inaugural season.
Yeah. So I saw some fans online kind of bummed about Washington. There's a really strong women's sports presence in DC, too.
Yeah.
Can't imagine that it'll be long until the PWHL sees DC. We know that Detroit is hugely interested. That was probably the best. I'm calling them takeover games now. That was probably the best out-of-market game last year.
Well, and it went to a shootout, right? So the game itself was pretty wicked, too.
Yeah, the crowd was phenomenal. The actual game on the ice was sick. So excited
That
to
was
see.
when the Taylor Swift sing-along happened. Am I right or wrong?
You are dead right. I didn't want to mention it again because I feel like I'm lost in the sauce of Taylor Swift this week. I actually am not thinking about much else. So I worry about how many times that I'm bringing her up in conversation.
Well, can we just talk about her one more time, since I've been busy trying to juggle 2 kids and myself, and this podcast and everything in between, my family coming to visit. Did she end up wearing the scepters?
She hasn't worn it yet, but she has more shows. I'm not going till Friday.
But like, what's she waiting on?
I don't know. I'm interested to see, like, has she been delivered one yet? We see that they've been made. We saw that Toronto made her the jersey and Gracie
Spooner
Abrams the
went to
jersey.
the concert
Spooner's been.
who did she go with? Was it
Kristen Campbell, I saw.
Campbell, yeah.
Maybe Megan Connors was there too. Maybe Daryl Watts, I think I saw there too. I'm such an Instagram creeper. They probably listen to this and they're like, Julia, get a life. Stop watching our Instagram stories.
Or could they just send you updates so you don't have to be such a
Can you guys
creep
just
about it?
text me where you're going so I don't have to be weird about it? Thank you very much. Much appreciated. So, no, she hasn't worn it yet. I'm hoping that she's going to wear it Friday night when I'm there. It doesn't seem likely. It seems more like a Saturday thing or like a Thursday thing. But hopefully it's Friday when I'm there.
There's no way she hasn't seen it in the stands, because we're going to bring Marissa Roberto up again. She went there wearing hers, and she had a video of like 2 or 3 other people wearing it.
I recognized the other PWHL fan too. I was like, oh my God, I've totally seen that person at Toronto games. Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to wear my Scepters jersey Friday night.
Yeah.
I have been working like a dog on friendship bracelets. And they're literally all PWHL themed. So if you see me Friday night, please come see me. I will have a Scepters era. I made all the different teams in colors. So I am a loser. I need a life, Tessa. I haven't even told you this yet.
Dude, I'm going to send you my kids. Never mind.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
something with your time.
Yeah, they. Oh
honest,
no,
they
I thought you
love
meant
you.
bracelets to make for your kids. I was like, yeah. What songs do they like the best? I'll make them bracelets.
Actually, Annie would love bracelets.
Okay, I'll make her bracelets. So yeah, PWHL era, lots of purple ones. Come see me. We'll be bracelet trading.
So yeah, St. Louis I think is going to be cool too. Not going to lie. I would love to go to St. Louis to watch a game. That's where we were at. Was the take.
I haven't spent any time in St. Louis, and I've heard that the culinary scene there is highly underrated.
Really?
Amazing barbecue, apparently.
What?
And I can get into some barbecue. I love
listen,
barbecue.
when I was in high school and university, I was a big Nelly fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw Nelly at a country festival one time.
Did you?
Yeah, it was weird.
Why? Because it was a song with Tim McGraw?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I dig.
Broadcast partners announced in Canada
Yeah.
this past week. So TSN, RDS, and CBC are returning as partners. Prime Video in the mix on Tuesday nights, which is really exciting. TSN is going to have exclusive live coverage of 57 regular season games. CBC will have exclusive live coverage of 17 Saturday afternoon games. And Prime Video, like I mentioned, will get 16 Tuesday night games.
That's cool.
Yeah. Sounds like the PWHL playoffs will open with coverage of one semifinal series exclusively on TSN, and then the other one will exclusively be on
Prime.
Prime.
Yeah.
And they'll all be produced by the PWHL.
Yeah. Again, similar as last year.
Yep.
I think people.
So just sometimes I feel like Tessa and I use like broadcast jargon. Produced by the PWHL means like the shows will look the same as they did last year. They'll just play on all these different platforms. Anyways, keep going.
The same look across every network. Yeah. And I think people are a little ticked about it not being on YouTube for free anymore.
And fair enough. Like, I think that the year one YouTube in the PWHL
made sense.
And it really added to the sense of community that already exists about women's hockey, around women's hockey. Yeah. And I think it added to.
It made YouTube Girl a thing.
Yeah, it made YouTube Girl a thing. I saw people in our comments worried about YouTube Girl. YouTube Girl's fine. She's safe.
Guys,
we have confirmed that she's okay. Yeah, we're not going to tell you her name because we know she's kind of like a secret identity, but she is fine. She's still in the YouTube. It's just going to be a little bit of a different vibe. Was really nice to create that community in season 1. I think it added to how close people felt to the league and how close people felt to the games. And the sadness about it is definitely understood because you lose that kind of chat. But at the same time, there should be a little bit of excitement in knowing that the league has already progressed to a point where they can't give things away for free.
Well, and that's fair. And I think truly what it turned into, I don't think is what they were planning for, right? Like they weren't airing the games on YouTube to, hey, let's do that so we can create this, community and these awesome like YouTube chats, and YouTube Girl will be huge.
Yeah.
I think it was like, let's get our real numbers. How many people are actually interested in tuning into this so that when we can sell, when we do sell, I should say, the broadcast rights, it is for the proper dollar amount. No one's getting hosed. The numbers are there. They had a business plan from year 1. They obviously knew where they wanted to end up in year 2. Where they ended up, we don't know. However, obviously now with the numbers, and I think it shocked everyone how this league took off. I don't want to say shocked, but I think it was a delightful surprise.
Not shocked because people didn't think it was going to be successful, but it was just like the speed at which it blew up. And
it just continued to gain momentum as the season went on. There was no lull and there was no dip, and everyone kept saying, wait for it. And it still has yet to happen.
Yeah.
Love that. So at one point, yes, you're kind of like, oh man, I was like, oh man, I really, really love joining those YouTube conversations. Those were a ton of fun.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
and something unique to the PWHL too, which gave it a little bit of extra flavor.
Then it's like, hold on, whoa, look at this league go. You got to celebrate it. You got to love it. I know it sucks, but now you know where to find it in Canada. The US, I'm sure, will get ironed out and announced at a later date for their full, complete broadcast coverage.
Yeah. The only thing that's the other good thing about the Canadian broadcast rights is like lots of these channels. Ideally, it's not like me trying to watch Yellowstone last night and having to buy Paramount Plus. It's like people generally have CBC. People generally have. I hope I'm not speaking out of terms and sound out of touch right now, but I have Amazon Prime just because it's like kind of cheap and I like my deliveries to come faster. Yeah. So I just have it haphazardly.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people have it that way. Like my mom didn't realize she had it and she was like, oh, I got Amazon Prime. I can watch this for free. And same thing with TSN. It's kind of included generally in cable packages. So hopefully the games still are relatively accessible.
Yeah, you would hope that. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's progress and it's a good one. Even though it was a great thing that was taken away after a year, but that's okay.
Yeah. We'll always have the memories.
YouTube Girl. YDG.
We were all there.
Yeah.
Meghan Duggan,
Hey-o.
Director of Player Development for the New Jersey Devils, also won, a few medals while playing, will bring her expertise to serve as special consultant to hockey operations for the league. She'll help in areas such as player safety, rules, standard of play, international federation regulations, grassroots growth, and player development.
Yeah, so I think I see her being kind of like Cassie Campbell's right hand a little bit, just help in that area. It's funny. I hated playing against Duggan. Absolutely did not like her. Like I was like, this girl is just like the biggest thorn in anyone's side. And like she probably felt the same about me.
Of course.
Oh, I know.
Hopefully.
Like she played the right way. She played like Abby Murphy. Do you know what I mean? You got to play that way. And she did. Anyways, lo and behold, she ends up marrying one of my favorite teammates in Jillian Apps. And so then I get to know the human. And like, I love Meghan Duggan. And like, I love that she's in this position. And I love that she loves the game so much. She does have the knowledge and the wherewithal for all of this. Yes, she is involved in men's hockey on the NHL side. But like, she is still staying involved on the women's side because she does care about it and she does want this league to grow and be incredibly successful. And she cares about the players. She knows a lot of them. She keeps in touch with a lot of them. So I think that, you know, the league is in, these players in the league are in good hands with her in the position that she's in. So congrats, Duggan.
Yeah, congrats.
From a former foe to now a friend.
This kind of reminded me of a DM or a question that we got, and I kind of gleaned over quickly, but I want to bring it up. Somebody asked about what the league was doing to prepare players for body contact. Well, I know that there's been clinics and stuff, and there was chats going into the season. Do you think Duggan's job will factor into that at all, or will that come more from officiating?
Well, I think everyone would have I think they would lean on, you know, Cassie and her and officials. Like the league is very diligent and really obviously wanting to create the best environment for the players, but the best product on the ice as well. So if body contact is going to be taking some of these best young stars out of the game early, well, that's not great.
No, exactly.
Right? Not great for the league, not great for anybody. You want these great players sticking around for a long time. You want them healthy. We've talked about expansion already. If we're going to expand a couple teams, well, that's more players in. They're going to have to learn to play this way. So, I mean, growing up, I played boys hockey. I took a body contact school, but it's different when the game is humming as fast as it is out there. And you're
Remember the gauntlet drill?
Yeah.
What did that teach me about body contact? I got hit so many times in a row by so many dudes.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I learned anything.
Well, you just learn how to protect yourself and you learn how to take a hit. No?
Did I?
Did you?
I don't know if it was a productive drill. I'm just thinking about like maybe my point is that it's probably evolved since I learned to body check and I just like went through the row 100%. Of being on the boards and a human.
And it's not like these ladies weren't playing physical at all before. Yes, they were. Now they just get to remove that small little notion where it's like, if I make this play, I'm going to get a penalty. Now it's not that. It's like 50-50 puck. We're going for it. I'm running you over, right? So it's like, okay, it's kind of like when you first start playing body contact. It takes one good hit for you to take where you didn't protect yourself and you're like, all right, I'm never doing that again. Like, I know how to enter this now.
Yeah.
That being said, you don't want everyone to learn that way.
No, definitely not. Some clinics are needed, but not with the gauntlet drill. Please eradicate that from the game. Signing this week in the PWHL. Fleet sign from the Ohio State. Hadley HARTMETZ to a 1-year contract. She was picked in the 7th round of the PWHL draft.
Yeah, she got hurt back with Ohio State back in March. So they don't even know when she's going to be coming back, but they know that they liked what they saw. Clearly, you know, Danielle Marmer was talking to Nadine Muzzerall at some point at that draft, just picking her brain about, you know, the type of person and player she was. And it was enough to bring her in. And here's my thing. If you know what kind of defender you need, and there's a coach out there saying, yes, this one is worth it. I know they're injured, but they're worth it. Go for it. Exhibit A. Morgan Riley. Blew his ACL the year of his draft.
That's such a good example. We were just talking about this when we were at the Leafs game with Buckles, weren't we?
Look at this kid.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, just because they're a little beaten up or just because they blew up a knee or hurt their back or broke a wrist or whatever, they're not damaged goods forever.
No, of course not.
If they're determined enough and they have that right mindset and a coach can back them on that. I'm sure Muzz had great things to say about her. Then go for it. Because when she is back, like, when did they draft her? She was the 7th round. This might be the steal of the draft.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Looks like she's on skates already, too. I've seen a couple of videos of her getting back, so she's working hard at that.
Solid defenders. Tough to come by, like one that you really don't have to worry about. There's nothing better for a coach when you can just, any situation that you're in and you're like, oh my God, who do I put out there? And you just look down and you see a player, you're like, oh my God, yeah, they'll never hurt me here. Go ahead. Get out there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's what you're looking for.
That's what you want.
And that's what they got. That's what the Boston Fleet got. So pulling for her return, and congratulations on signing in the PWHL.
OH.
And by the way, I don't know. We get hilarious comments from one person. His name is Eric.
Yeah.
On Instagram and YouTube. I said something last week. I finished off your IO, and he thought I was like, he thought I didn't know how to spell Ohio. Like, I do know how to spell Ohio. I was just like kind of finishing off Tessa's sentence. I was like, come on, Eric. Like, give me a little room to breathe. You can cover our necks all the time.
I will say,
but now with that,
when I say OH, you don't just say IO. Like it's like an IO. Like you got to give it back.
Okay, I'll give more energy. I could take that criticism at least. But I do know how to spell Ohio. Like I know how to spell it. Thank you very much. Our player interview this week. We've had some requests for more Francophones on the podcast. We hear you. We will get more Francophones on the podcast. And we have a very special Francophone today from this past summer when we were in Montreal for CCM 125. Sad news aside, we won't be able to go to Montreal mini camps this week. Just scheduling, it didn't work out.
In Costa Rica till probably next year.
Yeah, we'll see him sometime soon. He'll be shipped back at some point. But until then, we got to hang around here. We will be at Toronto mini camp, so we'll have opportunity to interview all the players at Toronto mini camp. So let us know your requests from there. But we did see a couple requests for Ann-Renee Desbiens. And we happen to have an interview with her banked from this summer in Montreal. So here she is, Ann-Renee Desbiens from CCM 125.
All right, we're in Montreal. 125th anniversary of CCM. First goalie to drop in. Our viewers love goalies.
Yeah, I know. We're weird. We're awesome.
You say weird.
Interesting things.
I say interesting.
Yeah.
And we've had a few goaltenders on. One of your friends that you know, and Kristen Campbell.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think I can beat that one.
No, it's so funny. Ann-Renee Desbiens, because who's joining us, by the way. Thank you very much from PWHL
My
Montreal.
pleasure.
Congratulations on a pretty successful season. Your regular season was awesome to watch. The postseason was a battle. My gosh. I'm sure you're still recovering from that postseason. However, we were talking to Kristen Campbell, and it was so funny because she was like, "Yeah, I don't have too many, pregame rituals. I'm not that strange." And then she started rhyming off some stuff and went on for about 12 minutes. And I was like, "This is gold." And she didn't even mention her essential oils that she has going on.
Oh, every time you get to see her in a new event, you're like, "So what's new in your routine? Like, what did you add? What are you trying?" And like, one time I was sharing a room with her, and she's like, "Okay, just so you know, like I'm going to bed." I'm like, "Okay, why are you telling me that? Just go to bed," type of thing. She's like, "No, I'm gonna put my sleep mask on, my headphones." She's like, "My mouth guard," and I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "This sounds complicated." I just put my head on the pillow and I go to bed. But yeah, she's.
So are you not the prototypical goalie? Like, you have to have some type of pregame something. Every goalie does. Come on. Like a pregame
I really
meal?
don't. Nope. I'll eat about anything people make me, or I'll make my own food. I'm not really picky with gear or food or routine, so I could be dropped off at the rink 30 minutes before a game and I'd be good to go.
Come on.
Be there 2 hours before and I'm totally fine with it. So yeah, I'm pretty flexible with things, so I guess that's make me really weird because I'm not that weird.
You're a weird goalie.
Yeah, I'm a
you're
weird
not
goalie.
a goalie.
So sometimes I play spike ball, sometimes I play soccer, sometimes I just walk, sometimes I stretch. It's never the same.
Not left pad before right pad or anything?
First one I picked. Never know which one it is. Yeah, I really don't know. I just pick one.
I'm at a loss for words for the first time in my whole entire life.
I know.
That is wild. But let's talk about your gear, because you always got some pretty wicked kits. Like, do you have a set style, or are you kind of just how you are? Like, oh, well, that looks nice, I'll do that.
I'm starting to have more of a style, and I think we're here for the 125th anniversary, but I definitely like the old school gear. I think if I could go back in time, minus the weight of the gear, I like the old school design, the leather, the smell, the feel, the stitching, those kind of things is what I really enjoy. So my sets are on average pretty simple, solid colors, no white, don't like white.
Not a white. Why is that?
It gets dirty right away, unless you don't stop pucks. Then it stays clean, but I prefer to stop them. So white gets dirty, and I don't feel like cleaning them. So dark color pads, love, easier to maintain.
So let's talk about this upcoming season then, because names are going to be announced. There might be some new colors out there. So how the heck do you even plan for that? Or do you just stick to the old brown, good-looking, sharp pads?
I'm sticking with the brown solid pads for now, and then we'll see when the jersey logos is going to arrive. Maybe I'll get pushed to do something a little fancier, but don't worry, it's still going to be old school looking. So you can expect that, but maybe I'll put a little twist in there. But TBD on what jersey looks like, colors and all of that, so I'm pretty excited.
That's cool. Let's talk a bit about the season, because Montreal, you guys were a force, you guys were a power, you were a force to be reckoned with. Great goaltending tandem between yourself and Elaine Chewy. What's that relationship like between you two?
It's pretty awesome. We're two accountants, actually. We both studied accounting, so we definitely like spreadsheets and those kind of things, and our brains think the same way. So it's definitely a pretty easy relationship, me and her together. So it was good, and we really pushed each other this season. She had a great season, so it's really nice to have a goalie partner that does well as well, to push you to be better, but also, you know, your team always has supported whoever is in net. So that was pretty cool.
So are you two like stat nerds, like big on the numbers?
I wouldn't say like stat-wise, but I would say like people would always ask us tax question, and both of us like, we hate taxes. Please, it's not because I'm an accountant that I like taxes. There's plenty of other things to do. So it was really funny to get some of those questions. Both of us are like, please don't ask us ever again.
Just for the record, nobody likes taxes. That's just
No.
I think blanketed across everybody. But for your season, you guys got to play in some pretty cool special games. Is there one that sticks out to you where you had a moment where maybe you had to catch yourself? I got emotional a lot during the season. What was it like for yourself out there?
My favorite, well, there's a lot of favorite game. Obviously, the opening game is very special. I had a bunch of family members, close to 100 people there, so that was pretty amazing to be able to play in my home province with people that can drive to the game. They have to sleep here because I'm still growing up pretty far from Montreal, but the Bell Center. I still have goosebumps thinking about it. You go out for warm-up, there's all the little kids with sign around the glass. It's pretty cool, but like it's not full yet, and then when you step on the ice for warm-up, for the game, I mean, it's like packed, and like people had their lights on, and like it was just so full. And like you picture like Patrick Roy in the net for the Habs, like in that crease, Carey Price, all those goalies that had so much success, and to finally be you and have this rink full for a PWHL game, for a pro game. Like we had those with Team Canada where it was packed like that, but for people to support us the way they do here in Montreal, it's really incredible.
You talk about Patrick Roy, Carey Price. These are obviously legendary Habs goaltenders. For yourself growing up, was there a goalie that you look up to, male or female?
Obviously, the female one, I had Manon Réaume and Kim Saint-Pierre on my helmet this year, so very big inspiration on the women's side. But growing up, a lot of the Quebec goalies were my favorite one. Patrick Roy, Marc-André Fleury is a good one, just loves the game so much, the passion, the fun that he's got. Carey Price, he just always looked calm and control. And,
I mean, those goalies you mentioned, and Kim Saint-Pierre, Carey Price, Marc-Andre Fleury, they all play with this, like, lightheartedness, relaxed, no moments too big. It's just kind of like, meh, whatever. Like, I'm just so happy to be playing this game, and it's a ton of fun. And I feel like that is you. So is that where you think you relate to them pretty well? Because I feel like there's the biggest games happening, it's overtime or whatever, and sometimes something will happen and you just see yourself smile and shrug like, no, that's just
I like
what
when
it
they
is.
play music in the intermission or like during like the pause. Sometimes I'll just catch myself like singing or something. Trust me, nobody want to hear that though.
No, we do.
But no, you really don't. But I think like I cannot stay focused for that long. Like a game is so long, so I need those breaks to be able to take my mind off of things and kind of just like let it go. And yeah, things are gonna happen. You work hard, but sometimes the other team make a nice move. Sometimes things don't go your way.
Yeah.
But I try not to take myself too seriously most of the time.
Yeah.
Which makes life fun. Yeah.
Cripes, it's working for you really well. I feel like at the Bell Center in that game, there must have been a ton of distraction. I heard it was so loud in there. Was it like deafening, especially when they gave Pwhl that standing ovation? I don't know. She held it together pretty good. I did not. What was that like for all of you?
She's obviously one of the best players in the world, and then for her to get this recognition, and like I don't think I've heard the Bell Center being that loud ever in my entire life. And then the fans that were there, they really loved the women's game, and our crowd is very different. It's lively, it's diverse. People come to our game with their families. You see younger kids, all elderly people too, and that's what I really like about it. So to hear how loud it was, communication, the goalie, was not easy that day. Definitely not easy that day. But we made it work, and that's what made it pretty awesome.
There was a moment, Aaron Ambrose talked about it last night at the dinner, where she realized, you know, okay, now we're true pros, when Marie-Philippe Poulin is getting booed in the nation's capital when she had a penalty shot. Did you guys give it to her? Like, let's be honest, that had to have been such a, like, a moment where you're like, holy crap. But then it's like, wait a minute, we got to give it to her because Pwhl never gets booed. She only gets, lifted up because she's such a great person to play.
Like, wherever you go, Pwhl always gets cheered on, and it was so funny. I was giggling in my net. I was like, is this really happening? But I guess, well, she didn't score, but it's not a gold medal game, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'll forgive it.
Yeah.
It's truly amazing to see the support that each team gets in the market and how hostile some of those rinks are. Like, chill out. It was game 1.
Yeah.
Like, nothing has happened yet. Like, no dirty shots, nothing. But it was,
So with that, what's the hardest rink to play in?
I would say Ottawa for sure.
Yeah?
I think we have the best rink to play in and the best fans. But Ottawa is just very loud. People are very engaged as well. They follow their team. They love them. And then that barn is just an interesting shape. It's not even. It's like kind of you look on like your right or your left, depending which side you are, and it's like a few rows. And then you look on the other side, and you're like, oh, my God. It goes all the way on top. So it's a pretty charming, like cool-looking facility for them. And the fact that they sold it out almost every time is amazing.
I know, it was really cool.
Yeah.
Is that who you consider to be Montreal's, like, rival, like #1 rival is Ottawa, or who would you guys?
Toronto.
It's Toronto. Okay.
Always Toronto. Montreal, Toronto is just something else. And then there's something about that team. Obviously, they beat us quite a bit this year, but they're just so physical. We also got to play some pretty cool game against them, whether it was Battle in the Bay, Bell Center, Pittsburgh, all of that. So that didn't help. And then they're very like physical and annoying, like especially Emma. But I love Emma. I'll have dinner with her tonight. She's staying over.
Malte's doing her job. That just means she's doing her
Little
job.
shithead. Yeah.
Let's talk about that Battle in Bay in comparison to, I guess, Bell Center. Obviously not a home game for all of you, but that game was loud and raucous and sold out as well. And that happened before the Bell Center game. So in that moment, was that a little bit overwhelming, or was that a moment where you guys thrived?
Definitely thrive in a way that you picture that professional league, and like in my head we were selling out those rinks in a few years. Like, it takes time to build a fan base, it takes time to do that, but I think it sold out in like 2 hours. And like there's so many people that wanted tickets. I swear there's people that I don't even know that message me like we're best friends to get tickets, and I was like, I don't have access to those. Like, we can't get that many. So to see how excited people are, and at first I was like, oh, it's gonna be like this for the first game, it's gonna be like this to start, but the fan base grew, and people brought their friends, and they brought more people and more people. So I think that's why this league is going to last and then thrive in the future for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely, it hasn't even reached its ceiling or full potential yet, but the first season, the success of it was
crazy.
So it was awesome. I was like, this exceeded all of my expectations.
I know.
I don't know about you guys, but man, it was pretty wicked. Were you guys hoping that Toronto was going to pick you for the playoffs as a first-round matchup?
I mean, I would have loved it in a way that as an athlete, when somebody thinks they can beat you and they decide to play against, well, they couldn't pick us because we were second, so we had home ice.
Right, that's wrong. That's my bad.
Montreal-Toronto game would have been awesome.
Beautiful.
Very physical, lots of intensity, back and forth. We probably have two very different style of play, which makes it interesting as well. But yeah, I mean, being Minnesota, getting picked to be played against, like, I would have a chip on my shoulder for sure.
That would just work in your favor 100%. Can we talk about the playoffs a little bit and what it was like going through that against Boston? Because you guys beat each other up in that series. And you're a goalie playing in those games, long games, like 8 million overtimes approximately, if you want to count. What were your legs like? What was the morale like in the locker room game after game? I mean, it just felt like just a physical and mental and emotional battle.
Yeah, obviously, like, every game you lose in overtime is not easy, especially when you lose 3 in a row in playoffs, so that was a little challenging. But we had opportunities. We had power plays in overtime. We didn't take advantage of those, so I think we got to learn and move on. But just the physicality of it. We know the PWHL is physical. That's one aspect that I love about the game now, and that they included in the league. And then playoff just took it a whole new level. I thought open ice hits were legal, and I was like, what is going on? But it was fun to see, and it was fun to watch. And like, for the first time in my career to play a best of 5 series. I've done best of 3 at school, but it's definitely spiced things up a bit, and like the traveling in between, the back and forth, pretty short turnaround. So that's a little harder, so we have to learn and get better as we go.
So what'd you learn from season 1 that you're going to carry over to season 2, now that you've got that first one under your belt?
It's a pretty long season,
especially
with the national team commitment. So try to balance that off. I stayed off the ice a little longer this summer.
Did you? Good.
Because I was like, I cannot skate 12 months in a row like I did last year type of thing. So managing this load and volume, what you need during the season, a little more recovery, and then trying to find those limits of pushing, but then also being able to be fresh and ready to go when you need to.
So what are your expectations for Montreal and yourself for season 2?
Obviously, we want a championship. I think anybody as an athlete, if you're not aiming for a championship every year, especially in this league, every team was so close. Every game, you never knew who was going to win. Like 1-goal games, overtime, shootout. Like I think we had all of
everything.
Them. So obviously winning a championship, and that's really the goal. Bring it back to Montreal.
You guys drafted pretty well.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that team comes together. Let's talk a little bit about leadership in your locker room, because I know Pwhl is leaned on to carry a lot of that load. She's not necessarily, in my opinion, when I played with her, the vocal leader. She's not going to be one to step up in the room and give the rah-rah. So who else steps up in that role for your locker room?
I think that was a cool thing about Montreal. We had a lot of those. We have some very quiet leader, like Pwhl would be. She'll speak up when she needs to, and when she does, you really listen.
Yeah.
KO is also on the quiet side, Kristen O'Neill. Erin Ambrose likes to talk.
Yeah.
Laura Stacy likes to talk as well. So I would say they were probably the two most vocal player in the dressing room, and kind of bringing us back to what we need to focus on and regroup and kind of calm things down at time as well.
Awesome. Well, best of luck in season 2. We'll be cheering for you. It was awesome watching you season 1. Also, I mean, in the World Championship, excuse me, not the National Championship, the World Championship. Congratulations on that gold medal win. That was one wild.
I don't think I've recovered from that one just yet.
Honestly,
it was back and going from that round robin and 1-0 game
I couldn't
in
catch
overtime
my breath.
to so many goals. I mean, I hate as a goalie, but I'm sure it was super fun to watch for fans, and back and forth, 1-goal lead every time. So it's pretty cool to be a part of.
I know I said I was going to let you go, but I gotta pick your brain on this. It's overtime. You're a goalie. You see Danielle Serdachny score that OT goal. Like, is it just like, thank God, you guys? Like, I'm back here stopping all the pucks. Would you score already? And like. Yeah. My thing is always like, do you skate to the goalie or do you skate to the...
Oh, I skated as fast as I... Well, I took a deep breath first, because obviously you get a power play in overtime, you got to take advantage of that. And you were on some pretty significant overtime goal with the Canadian Olympic team.
With Caro scoring the OT in 2012.
So that's what I mean. So, like, you want to be on the ice, but when you get a power play, like, you got to score. And it's a big... So you see that time winding down that penalty, and you're like, oh my God, we're going to go back. And then she finally put it in, and I was like, oh yes, like hit her in the chest, backhanded in, and I was like, okay. Whew, and then sprint.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my mindset.
And especially after that round robin, the way the round robin game went, where it was like the most exciting nothing hockey game I had ever watched in my
entire life.
Renata
Fast body checking Kendall.
Holy
5 seconds in the game.
Yeah, Renata Fast doing everyone the favor, hey?
I know.
And then that
I was
just
like,
sparks Abby Murphy to get going, and
I was
it's like,
this is how today's gonna go.
Yeah. All right, here we are. Buckle up, everyone.
Yeah.
We're in for a good one. The last question I'm going to ask you: was it strange to play hockey after that? Because usually your season is over after Women's Worlds.
Yeah, my celebration was a little tamer than usual, because I had to hit the road to go back to Montreal and then go to practice like probably a day or two after. So very different, because usually I'll book a travel, I'll go somewhere. Yeah. But this time it was go home and go back to work. So it was fun. Finishing your season in May is definitely nicer than early April, because then you get June off when you finish later,
right?
Which is a pretty nice month to have off.
You're into summer.
But yeah, it was nice to have a regular season.
Awesome. Well, congrats on a successful season. We'll be cheering you on here at Jocks and Jills. Thanks for taking the time. I know you got a busy day.
No, it's all good. Here for this.
I guess I forgot to mention before we played that interview that was at the point in the morning where I was still
Dead.
Yeah, something like that.
You were losing your belly.
I was losing my belly.
Yeah.
So Tessa handled that one herself, and it was fabulous. Thank you. We love Ann-Renee.
Yeah. I felt like she's a character. There's a lot of layers to her, and there's a lot more to get to with Ann-Renee Desbiens.
I love her and her dog and her, like, she's such an interesting character.
She is.
And she's got this very underrated sense of humor that,
yeah, it's almost, I don't know.
Extremely French.
I don't know. I was going to say, I don't know if it's dry or if it's just the translation thing, but maybe it's just her, period. Like, I appreciate
it's hilarious.
Yeah. I love a good laugh. I like humor. So yeah, I really enjoyed that conversation.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in and for that suggestion. We love talking to her. Tessa did. Okay, our first question of the Send It segment is from Craig McPhee, and he asks, how are the Victoire going to be compensated for the Amanda Kessel draft pick and her not reporting to camp? And I think I don't think that they're going to be compensated. They made that pick knowing full well. I think it was out there. It wasn't announced because it's illegal to announce in a draft. That would be tampering to say I only want to play for Boston. But I think it's fair to say that the vibe was out there. She did only want to play for Boston. And I think that we both kind of saw this happening when Montreal picked her.
Yeah. And, I don't put this on Montreal by any means.
No, might as well pick Amanda Kessel if she's available in the draft.
7th round.
Why not?
Second last pick of the draft.
How do you know what you're getting out of your 7th rounder anyways in a league where you can only have so many players on the roster?
Yeah, I feel like she's on for 2 years anyways, but right after she was drafted, it was announced that she got that job promotion with the Penguins as well. So, I mean, how committed was she really to joining the PWHL? Because you can't join part-time, right? I mean, you're in, you're out, or you're out. So, I think at some point, the league's going to have to figure out a way to ensure that the ladies who are entering the draft are 100% committed so that this isn't happening to teams anymore moving forward. Because it's essentially, Victoire fans could say it's not fair. But what is Montreal supposed to do? Just let a player like that be swooped up for free? I mean, they kind of had to play the chess versus checkers kind of game.
Yeah. And you said it last week.
I dig it.
Yeah. You said it last week. If she wants to play,
play. You got a great team.
Yeah. Play with Montreal, or Boston has the opportunity to make Montreal an offer. So that's how that one rolls. And our second question is from, do you have the name on this one?
Roma.
From Roma, who is 15. Hi, Roma. Thanks for listening to the Jocks and Jills podcast. We love you. What happens to Sarah Fillier? I know she signed 1 year in New York, but do the Sirens still own the rights to her after the season? Would she sign another 1 year with New York? Sorry, that was not your writing. That was my reading. Or would she be allowed to get picked up by another team?
No. So the way it works is, this is a 1 year deal. She's not an unrestricted free agent heading into next season. So they own her rights for 2 years. There would be another contract worked out. I'm gonna guess it has to do with salary caps and the amount of dollars coming in for her in her camp. If I had to guess, just because year over year we don't know how the league is trending. Obviously it's up, but it seems as though they want to maximize the dollar amount per. And if she doesn't want to stay and New York cannot meet her ask or requirement, then there's an opportunity to trade there as well.
But she does have to get traded.
Yeah.
In order to be on a different team for next year. And then we got a couple questions, Tess, about the state of the pod. So let's address that. Just wondering, but what time on release day does your podcast drop? Thank you guys for being awesome. Thank you for being awesome, Ashton Atkins. And our podcast is posted before 8 a.m. Eastern time on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcast. So 8 a.m. Eastern, and it could be before then. Sometimes it pops up at 7 a.m. Eastern if we're feeling real tidy and we got our work done early. But before 8 a.m. Eastern is where it comes up. And then we got a second question, this one from Kirsty Dixon, and she asks, any Jocks and Jills merch? We have been teasing this a little bit because we post in our Jill hats and so the context behind those pieces of merch that you saw, and we'll give you the full story because obviously this summer when we were posting that, little wackadoodles who just made our own first clothing line and we were pumped about it, we hadn't signed with the PWHL yet when we printed those off. So we just printed those off for ourselves.
Yeah, we wanted to do some type of merch, and we knew there was going to be a handful of ladies. As everyone knows, CCM's got a wicked roster of players that they have signed. So we're like, let's get them a little bit of something. And something for ourselves, and maybe for Ed and for Liam and for whoever. And then we'll see how it goes, what we like, what we don't like. And then we can, figure out where to go from there. What we didn't realize was our Jill logo that we had. Actually, if you look at it quickly, which it's not wrong, we could probably put a picture up of the hat. One of our friends, Jane Bussman Wise, was like, I thought it was a steak. It looked like a T-bone steak.
And now I can't stop seeing a piece of meat.
So now we have to redesign. art gels.
Yeah, and obviously we're going through the PWHL's merchandise kind of streams now. So that is to come. We've had meetings about merchandise and we're pumped about what we're going to make for you guys.
Can you guys do us a favor and just, drop a comment on the types of merch that you most want to see from us, and we'll do our best to make it happen. Just let's not talk about like mouse pads or anything. We're not printing mouse pads, I don't think.
Tessa, who would ask that?
People print mouse pads these days.
How was that the first thing that came into your head?
I'm saying, please don't comment.
Please
that.
don't ask us to print a mouse pad. We won't do it. Print it yourself. I'll send you a selfie. You can print a mouse pad with our faces on it. Okay, so that is hilarious. And that's the episode for this week, guys. Thank you for listening. As always, we appreciate chatting with you all at the beginning of the week. Please, where you can, subscribe on YouTube. We love that support. It really helps us out to kind of gauge what you're enjoying and how many people are listening. If you could drop us a comment or a like on this YouTube video. Rate us on Spotify. Rate us on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on TikTok, on Instagram, on X. We appreciate you all, and we will talk to you on Friday.